The shadow that followed. The first time Daniel saw the shadow, it was just a flicker in the corner of his eye. A brief, shifting darkness that slithered across the walls of his one-room apartment. At first, he thought it was a trick of the dim light or exhaustion from another night of sleepless jealousy. It was always about Ethan. Ethan, with his effortless charm, his penthouse apartment, his expensive suits, his invitations to private parties where power and influence danced in whispered conversations. Ethan, who never struggled like Daniel had, never worried about rent, never had to swallow his pride when denied a promotion. Ethan, who had the life Daniel desired. They had grown up together, childhood friends in a poor neighborhood, but their paths had split. While Daniel scraped by, Ethan soared. And now, watching him from the sidelines, Daniel's envy had become an unbearable weight. One night, after too many drinks, Daniel let the bitter thought slip into the open. I'd do anything to have his life. The moment the words left his lips, the room turned cold. The shadow flickered again, lingering this time, darker, watching. Then it spoke. Would you? Daniel's breath caught in his throat. The voice was a whisper, yet it filled the room, wrapping around him like unseen fingers. He turned sharply, expecting someone to be there. But it was only the shadow, stretching unnaturally long across the wall. Would you take his place if given the chance? The voice asked again. Daniel's pulse thundered in his ears. His first instinct was to run, but the words clung to him. Would he? Yes, yes, he would. How? He whispered. The shadow rippled, like ink spreading in water. A simple exchange. His life for yours. His fortune, his name, his world. All yours. Daniel swallowed hard. His rational mind screamed at him to step away, to pretend this wasn't happening. But envy had already coiled tight around his heart. What's the cost? Only the consequences of your own choice, the shadow said smoothly. It didn't ask for money. It didn't ask for blood. Just a simple yes. And Daniel, blinded by desire, said it. The next morning, the world felt different. Daniel woke up in silk sheets. Sunlight poured through towering glass windows, casting golden streaks across an unfamiliar ceiling. He bolted upright, heart pounding. This wasn't his apartment. A deep breath filled his lungs with wealth, the crisp air of an expensive home, the scent of fresh cologne, leather, and luxury. He threw off the covers and rushed to the mirror. His reflection wasn't his own. Ethan's sharp jawline, Ethan's tousled dark hair, Ethan's confident, effortless smirk. Daniel. No, Ethan stumbled back, hands shaking. It had worked. He was Ethan now. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Enjoying your new life? Daniel's blood turned to ice. He didn't reply. He didn't need to. Instead, he embraced the life he had stolen. Parties, meetings with powerful people who shook his hand as if he belonged. He drove Ethan's sleek car, felt the weight of a metallic black credit card in his pocket, dined in restaurants where the bill never mattered. He had everything he had ever envied. But the shadow followed. At first it was just an unease, a flicker in the corner of his eye, a cold shiver when he passed mirrors. Then it grew bolder. One night he saw it in the reflection of a bar's glass, a looming figure behind him, featureless, just dark, waiting. Daniel turned sharply. Nothing was there. He laughed it off, ordered another drink. But the laughter felt hollow. It got worse. The shadow began whispering. You wanted his life. Do you understand what you took? The whispers slithered into his dreams, turning them into nightmares. He dreamt of Ethan's face, his real face, twisted in agony. Trapped somewhere else. Then came the pain. It started as a dull ache in his bones. Then his skin. A slow, creeping sensation, like something beneath his flesh was shifting. One morning, standing shirtless in the mirror, he noticed something horrifying. His reflection was changing. Not in a human way. The shadows under his skin pulsed, moving like living ink. His fingers trembled, and for the first time, he felt fear. What's happening to me? He demanded into the empty room. The shadow didn't answer. It didn't need to, because the truth had already settled in his bones. He hadn't replaced Ethan. He had consumed him. And now, the life he had stolen was turning on him. Daniel's thoughts became fragmented. One moment, he was living as Ethan, smiling at meetings, shaking hands, pretending to be the golden boy. The next, he was drowning in darkness. Shadows pulling at him, whispering, laughing, reminding him that this wasn't his. Could never be his. Then came the final horror. One night, staring into the mirror, he saw something move in his own reflection. Ethan, his real face, his real self, trapped in the glass, staring back at him with eyes filled with rage. Let me out, the reflection mouthed. Daniel staggered back. No, you took my life. Ethan's voice was inside his head now. Everywhere. And now, I'm taking it back. Daniel's body convulsed. The shadow surged around him, clawing at his skin, peeling away the stolen identity. He screamed as his features warped, dissolving, unraveling. And in his last breath, he understood. The shadow had warned him. There was a price. Not just the cost of taking Ethan's life, but the cost of keeping it. And now, as the darkness swallowed him whole, he knew the truth. He would never truly have Ethan's life, because now he was nothing but a shadow. And Ethan? Ethan woke up in his own bed, breathing, alive, whole. He exhaled sharply, sitting up, running a hand through his hair as if waking from a long nightmare. But when he looked in the mirror, he hesitated, because something flickered in the reflection. Something watching, something jealous, waiting. Lesson. Envy leads to self-destruction. What is stolen never truly belongs to you.